Well, good evening. You're very welcome to Inside Line Racing for round number 13 of ILR6. As you can see, we are at a very wet Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps in the wet. 20 drivers. What more could you possibly want on a Thursday evening than one of these? Oh dear goodness, this is going to be absolutely incredible. I can already sense it. Sources tell me it's a dry race though, so that should be interesting to see. But for now, between now and then, though, there are 15 minutes of wet qualifying to get us started, and Maurice Minor, I think, is going to be the first one to start a lap, and I'm sure we're going to see lots of retirements in the early stages. So, looking on the left-hand side, you see all the driver names. There is a good bit of change since between Hungary and Spa. I'll try and run you through them as best as I can as Maurice Minor starts his lap. There's a Renault behind him. Looks like it's Insane Rampage. So we'll just keep up to date on that. But how do I start this? So Sir Lane here in the Toro Rosso, they've come down from ILR. He's come down from ILR5, as has Bill. So they are at least familiar in the ILR family. They come down from ILR5, so interested to see how they get on. In the Renault, Philip is now a full-time driver and could be one of the quickest on the grid if what I hear is true. So interested to see how he gets on tonight. There is... where can I find him? Oh, Baza's out already in sector 1. I'd imagine he's been heading up Eau Rouge, would be my suspicion. Where is Howitzer? So this is all over the place. You have to forgive me because there's just so many new people, new faces this week. Howitzer in the Williams, new to league racing completely, so I think he's going to have to tread very carefully. What a flip! What a way to start league racing in Belgium in the wet. Takes that quite nicely though as he heads up Eau Rouge and through Radillon. So if you can survive that, you can do pretty well. Another reserve, Apex Whiteout. He's in the Sauber, and I think that covers it. I think we're covered with that in terms of faces. Alex and sorry, John and John was moved up, as well as Smudge. That's the word I'm looking for. So they've been moved up to ILR5 again. And there's a lot of things went down last week, so a lot of changes. So apologies if stuttered and stammered through that. There was a lot to go over, and I'm sure there will be before we're all said and done here. Maurice Minor, meanwhile, just coming across the line, sets an opening lap of 2 minutes on the dot. So where will that stack up? Well, we'll find out, I'm sure, soon enough. The same Rampage pops in with 2:03. They're going to be flying in the laps now. We'll go on board with the new man, Philip. We're going through the standings very quickly. Just kind of, again, a lot of things have changed, so we'll just kind of bring you up to date on where things actually stand in the title race. As Maurice Minor is out, as Philip goes pole 59.6. Was that heading up Eau Rouge? Can we find a car? There he is. There's that Force India. Oh, and there's a Insane Rampage is gone as well. The Renault, same place. So already with 3 retirements already in this qualifying session. We're not even 10 minutes the way through yet, and casualties all around. So the championship leader is Danskar. He's on 141 points, 10 points ahead of Antatak in second. Then Alex is in third on 91 points, and then there's a big gap then to Crumpet in fourth. So that's where things stand in terms of the driver standings. John, Smudge, they're up now. So his place sets the fastest lap, 58.3. So Danskar's teammate goes quickest of them all. And I do wonder, with this rain, is it getting harder? Is it getting lighter? Is there more improvement to be made in the track? I think there could be, as Bill retires from the session, having set a 2-minute flat 0.6. A lot of people quite close. You can see there from Maurice Minor down towards and in 7th. There's not a lot of ground covering them. Murdoch 59.2. As they just slip and slide their way through, just trying to survive as Jack goes off the track and into the wall. He's out of qualifying as well. So through Pouon, I believe he's lost it as well, and so casualties mounting thick and fast here at Spa. And Danskar is going to join them as well. He's lost the car. I think he should just be safe. An extremely close shave for Danskar there. That could have easily ended his qualifying right there and then, and he's the slowest driver who has set a time at the moment, so that wouldn't have been a very good setting for him, as Sir Lane 58.3, a couple of guys now into the 58s. The track does seem to be getting a little bit quicker, and I expect possibly it will continue to do so as time ticks down. So you could pick up anyone else. Mr. Crumpet in the Ferrari, his teammate out of course. Yellow flags will be absolutely everywhere, so you have to forgive me if I do miss something. So who was next to cross the line? Getting close. Fernandez is getting close to finishing his lap. Let's see what he can manage in the Sauber. I can't even imagine how difficult this is. Spa is difficult to drive at the best of times, but in the wet I suspect it is quite a handful. 2-minute 1 for Fernandez there. I think Alex put a pop in a better time than the one he's got. We'll see. Where's Ant? Here's Ant. He comes through the final chicane. This looks like it'll be in the 2 minutes. Yes, it is, just about. That's good enough for 5th place for Ant. Oh, and there goes Philip into the wall, and he's incredibly lucky not to lose a wheel. They're heading down the hill towards, I believe that's Bruxelles. That's Bruxelles they're heading through now, so that was a tough one there for Philip, and he's extremely lucky not to have any further damage. He can at least limp back to the pits and get himself set for another lap. As Rob retires from the session, so how many people have we lost? Just as well that this is a dry race, I believe. Otherwise, could be absolute carnage. 20 drivers. It's tough enough as it is, but a wet race, 22 laps in the wet. That would be a lot to ask of these guys. Just to bring you through to constructors now, that's updated here as well. Haas comfortably leading the way on 246 points, ahead of McLaren on 178, and then in third you have the Force India boys, 149. So that kind of brings you up to speed with all of the the many changes that happened between last week and this week in ILR6. So now I think the table is set, and we can really look forward to the last 8 minutes 35 seconds of this qualifying session in Belgium, where conditions are extremely tricky. We've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars already, possibly 7 there as well. No, 6. My counting's very bad, I apologise. It is 6. Fernandez has gone for a second lap. Will he? He will come in. A nice pit exit there. Breaks the wing on the way in. Well, as long as it's not a wheel, you can certainly break a lot worse. Ant is going to continue his lap. So it's just under 8 minutes to go. This could be actually quite close. It is a 58, but 58.7 for Ant. Moves himself up into third. His title challenge is reinvigorated by John and Smudge moving on. So he's well and truly, just when he was falling out of the equation, he's now back into it. Just a few points behind. Just 10 points behind Danskar. And Plays, the first man into the 57, so the track is getting quicker and quicker. 57.8 for Plays. So I think this qualifying session, I think, really could come down. And Danskar's teammate goes into the 56s, so a full 1.1 seconds quicker than his teammate. And I really do think that whoever sets their lap time last has the best chance of getting pole position if this track is continuing to dry, which it would seem to, those 2 times there would seem to suggest that that is the case. Of course, plenty of ERS, like ERS usage is much lower in the wet than it is in the dry, so as long as you have the fuel, you can just keep pounding round until you get yourself into a groove. So here's Howitzer as he goes through Blanchimont. The man in the Williams, he heads through the bus stop chicane. Tentative on the throttle, as you would probably imagine, the run down to the line. 2-minute 1 is his best time, and he stays in 12th place. Ant is on in lap, that's okay. Let's Pro open the other Toro Rosso. His teammate Sir Lane up into third at the moment, but I suspect he could go a lot quicker now that the track has dried out, so It's going to be, you're going to see flashes of purple throughout this entire remaining 6 minutes, because the track does seem to be getting a little bit better, if those last 2 lap times were any indication. We'll go on board with Alex. He heads up through Radion and up the Kemmel Straight. Makes his approach toward Les Combes. Difficult braking zone, easy to cut the corner as well. Taking it nice and gently, it's clean. Is it quick enough though? And Pro Opa is out off a session. We find where he went off. You can see there's a Ferrari Crumpus just letting traffic go. Howards are almost getting onto the deadly curves of Pouon. You mount those inside curves and it is danger. You can easily be thrown off them. And thankfully there's a lot of space between the inside curb and the wall, but the outside wall at least, but won't do your race or lap any help if you manage to get yourself into a spin. And Crumpus got wing damage on the left hand side there, that's why he's limping away, and he's got cars as well trying to find their way through. But here we go then, a couple of guys out again. Philip is out again, Murdoch is out again, and Sir Lane is out again as well. He's just beginning the lap as well, so we're going to see a flurry of activity soon. You wouldn't want to leave yourself too late coming out of the pits, just because of the nature of how things are in the wet. You want to really get yourself warmed up, you want to get yourself acclimatized to the track again, and that it's hard to nail one lap in the wet in terms of you give yourself one shot, one opportunity. Eminem and Murdoch is out. That's what you get for referencing Eminem, I suspect. There could be a number of places where he's gone. Alex then does find an improvement, 59.5 though, so he's quite a bit off the pace, at least on that last lap. Oh, there's Murdoch right there. The exit of Bruxelles. Possibly mounted the inside curb and then got himself into a spin and into the wall, so there you go then. That's a shame for Murdoch, because he was in 6th. Oh, and Philip, as he pushed it, look, too much this time. And again, he has saved it, lucky not to end up in a wall. And that will be this lap ruined. But there you go, that's the case for, give yourself a lap or two. Don't leave it too late to come back out again. Like Plays and Danscar, 2 McLarens are only coming out. Well, Plays is only coming out now. And I assume his teammate will be following him shortly to do the same. So who's actually on the lap then? Sir Lane. We'll go on board with Sir Lane. See how he gets on as he makes his way through Sector 3, about to make his way through Blanchimont. How's his lap time stacking up? A bit of a lift. Understandable given the conditions. And approach, heavy brake and bus stop chicane. Hits the apex beautifully. Tentative on that throttle. I think this could be a decent lap, And it's a 56.3, so he has gone provisional pole. So a good lap from Sir Lane, puts him in front at the moment. And with just over 2.5 minutes remaining, he's got a good chance to do another lap and possibly improve on that time. We'll see what the competition can do. It's a Howitzer has gone 5th, so he finally got himself a lap hooked up, and he puts himself in 5th place behind Ant and the 2 McLarens. A bit wide there on the exit of La Source, and I think he's just gonna. Well, this lap is definitely gone. Alex does find an improvement. He's back up to 5th now, so Alex getting into the groove of things, and he's got time for another lap. As Ant is just starting his place, getting ready to start his dance car. On out lap, he'll have 1 lap to do this. Well, dance car, so a lot of pressure to put on himself. Whereas Philip is on a lap. Heading through the Bruxelles hairpin. See if we can pick up anyone a little bit further along the road. Plays is starting a lap. Arguably the furthest along probably is Khalifa, so we'll go on board with Khalifa in the Force India. It's been a while since we've seen them. He lifts through Blanchimont. Tricky conditions. See how he gets on. This is the apex slightly. Just an extremely tentative lap. I think he's just setting himself up, isn't he? Just starting. 2 minute 3. He's still in 12th. What about Fernandez then? believe he is on a lap, and he's going to make an improvement, and he's going to lift himself up to, well, no, he did improve a lap, but he's still in 14th. Now, where is Philip? Philip then is coming through Blanchimont. And Sir Lane is into the pits. Oh, big lock up for Philip. And that lap could have been something decent. But not only has he ruined that lap, he's compromised his next lap as well. And that could be a tough one for Philip. He was surely would have been 6/10 quicker had he not made that crucial mistake. Oh, Plays losing the back end, and that's going to do it for Plays' lap. So he won't be able to improve on that, surely. Danskar starting his lap. Where is Ant? Alex is going to come out first, though. Just 15 seconds remaining, so these guys crossing the line. They can get another lap in if they can improve. And a 58.3 for Alex moves ahead of Ant. Ant has the chance to instantly respond and can't. Still a 58.6 for Ant. He is in 5th still. Checkered flag is out. So this will be it then. Who's close? Howitzer into the pits. He's not going to finish his lap. I believe the furthest along will be, well, Plays will have to finish his lap or come into the pits. He's missing part of his wing as well, so that's definitely his pole hopes well and truly scuppered. Just a few cars left. Crumpet is heading through Lake Com. Apex going through sector 2, and that is Plays. So I think Apex is the furthest along the track, so I'll go on board with him first, unless I'm mistaken. As he heads through Stavilo. Back end wanting to kick out the whole time. And he's made his way through Paul Frere. And then through Blanchimont. Oh, back end stepping out there with Alvin Valdez. The lap will find out. But he's really pushing is Apex. Really pushing it. That's it for Crumpet. He's going to finish 11th. Run down to the line then. Apex, what can he do? Can he lift himself out of 7th? He does. Into 4th place. A good lap from Apex then. I believe Danskar will be next. Is Philip? Oh, Philip, there he goes. Philip, he's into 6th. So he did find an improvement despite that compromised start. Here's the man we need to watch. Can he snatch pole position from Sir Lane at the death? He can. 56 flat for Danskar, and with Alex on a slow lap, that will surely do it. Does Ant have anything to say about it? Seem to be down on his sector 2 time. I don't think he's going to take pole, but can he improve on his own lap? He cannot. He does, but he stays in 7th. And that will do it for qualifying in Spa. Danskar, the championship leader, snatches pole at the checkered flag at the death. And he will start from the front row, the best seat in the house, and of course is free to choose his own strategy in the process. We wait only now for Alex to finish his lap. I assume he's run out of fuel. So, and that will do it. A lot of retirements in that session due to incidents, crashes, etc. And Alex will limp into the pits, and that will wrap us up here in Belgium for qualifying. There we go then. We are all set. We'll qualify. That was an interesting 18 minutes for sure. Impossible to say how people went with setup in terms of who went with wet for qualifying for track position. Did anyone go more so for the dry? Well, we'll find out with the race pace, I'm sure. But for now, it is Danskar on pole position ahead of Sir Lane in 2nd. A big gap then to his teammate. Danskar's teammate in 3rd. Plays. Apex in 4th, Alex 5th, Philip 6th and 7th. Howitzer is 8th, Murdoch 9th despite his early retirement from the session. Morris Minor, that opening lap of his eventually was good enough for 10th after he retired up the hill. Crumpet 11th, Khalifa 12th, Bill 13th, Fernandez 14th, Insane Rampage 15th, Rob 16th, Daziek 17th, Jacko 18th, Pro Open 19th and Baza in 20th. nice full grid, and I can only imagine how this is going to go in the race, heading up towards last source, or down towards last source, and then up Eau Rouge and through Radion. Should be a bundle of fun. Of course, the weather being as it was in qualifying meant that it means that the drivers have their own choice in strategy no matter where they qualified. Of course, they won't be starting the race on the intermediates, assuming it's a dry one, and I believe it is, and it is a little bit overcast, to be fair, but it is a dry to start, so there's a lot to decide upon. Normally this time it's, you know, you can, again, there's a few things you can change when you're in Parc Fermé. You can change the front wing, you can change the differential, you can change the brake bias. There's a few things you can change. Top 10, of course, can't change the tyres. That's the rule. You qualify and whatever you set your fastest lap time on in the top 10 in the short qualifying format. So, but we've got a nice quick decision today, and we can get underway. And here we go then. So, the majority of the field, in fact, the entirety of the top 10, all choosing softs. Crumpet in 11th is going on mediums. He's going to go long into this race. Khalifa on softs. Fernandez, Insane Rampage, Rob, Daziak, they're all on softs, and Jacko, Pro, but Baza then sensibly at the back on mediums. But there is one runner on super softs, and that is Bill. So Bill going for an ultra aggressive start. He's going to hope to make a lot of positions up in that first lap if he wants to make that strategy work. The supers are not a fantastic race tire. You can arguably compare them similarly to how the ultra softs were on this track in 2017. And any of you who know that is not a great race tire either. So the softs will run it a bit further, and a better race tire than the mediums. Then obviously a nice comfortable bet to go a number of laps into this race. 22 laps here, the shortest number of laps on the grid, or on the season rather. But this is the longest track. It's over 7 kilometers, I believe. So there is reason why, and of course you saw in the wet, their lap times are getting close to 2 minutes. So, but we have a dry race, and it's going to be interesting to see how they get on up the front. Sirlane and Danskar, how quick is Sirlane? We'll find out very, very soon as they round. They're just getting close to Stavolo now, and then through Paul Frere, and then they'll make their way up the final descent towards the bus stop. So just looking at some of the other messages going back. Sirlane and Bill, they come down from ILR 5, and you could probably expect, it's definitely Sirlane at least, given that he's in second, to be a contender for this race win today, I think. So can Danskar hold on? If he can, how long? Well, he's not doing a great job. Oh dear. oh dear. 4 cars in the blink of an eye disqualified from qualifying right at the end. Lads, come on. Anyways, the rest of the grid though line up. The front two will take their place. The rest will follow as Baza, the last car, just coming through the bus stop chicane now. Here we go then. We'll go on board with Sirlane. Here we go then. 22 laps around the longest circuit on the calendar. It ticks down. Knees weak, arms are heavy. And there is a ton of jump starters, but away we go. And a good start for the front two. Oh, there's a Haas off to the left hand side, right hand side. That is Alex, and Morris has got himself in the mix. Oh, there's a lot of contact. Of course, these guys have taken absolute carnage down the back. Absolute carnage. We'll go back to the front as they make their way through Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time. There's an overtake. Alex and Morris. Oh, there's contact, and Morris is round. And they managed to avoid it, it seems. So a bit of a scruffy start. Oh, and Proba hasn't known, and a safety car has been deployed. So an absolutely chaotic start at Belgium. The safety car is out. Morris Minor there's a move. Morris Minor and Sirlane were going side by side up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion. It ended up in disaster for Morris, but not as disastrous as it was for Pro Opa. and he is out of the race. The safety car is out for the first time in a while, I believe, in ILR6. So then, the grid. I missed a lot there, and I apologise. There's a lot happened. So before we actually look at the position changes, there was a number of jump starters. So Murdoch, Morris Minor, and Bill, they all jump started, which means the start then from Ant is legit. He is up to third. He's made 4 positions on that start. Sir Lane has fallen a few places down to fourth. Howitzer up a few places. Bill, of course, we know has jump started. Jacko, good start for Jacko from 18th up to 11th. Very good start from him. But I did see a number of wings fly away, so we'll go through the grid. The front two got away pretty well, to be fair, and then there was also all sorts of carnage as Morris I think he jumped the start, got involved in it with a few cars. So the wings then, how are we looking? Oh dear, there's a major collision. Rob and Crumpet have got involved in some sort of accident. Rob has no front wing, so that's not going to help. The other thing is with the guys who have jump started, you cannot serve a penalty under the safety car. You won't be allowed to. So Murdoch coming in to replace a wing won't be allowed to serve his penalty. It will be changing the wing under those conditions. Let's see who's into the pits. There's a Mercedes into the pits. That is Murdoch. That's a shame for Murdoch. He was in a decent place and puts on the tyres. And of course, maybe he's learning now that you cannot serve your penalty underneath the safety car. Baza is in as well, so double stacking here at Mercedes. And I imagine there's going to be a wing change here. Yes, there is. So I don't believe Murdoch actually made a wing change. I believe he just came in for his stop, not knowing, of course, that you cannot serve your drive-through under the safety car. Ant made the same mistake in Silverstone and ended up costing him pretty dearly that race as well. So Rob is out with a fresh wing. Now, who's limped on with damage, as Danskar has picked up the safety car? Who's limping on with damage? So the front, they look okay. Oh, Bill is off the track under the safety car. Will that result in penalties for the guys overtaking underneath the safety car? As Rob retires from the session, so we've lost 2 drivers already. And Morris Miners, there's all sorts of contact and all sorts of shenanigans. Crumpet again involved. This time it's Morris Minor who's got wing damage on that right hand side, and he's got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision as well. Look how slow Crumpet was going through that corner. So is that coincidence that the 2 cars behind Crumpet have been involved in accidents under the safety car? Well, he's going ridiculously slow, so I'm not surprised why Morris and Rob have just absolutely rear-ended him. Maybe the stewards want to have a look at that. Let's try and so apparently they say Rampage never got to start. Apparently, I believe he disconnected. So let's try and figure this out then. So that's a wing damage on Murdoch's car for sure. Morris Minor's got wing damage. Nothing for Crumpet. Fernandez looks okay. Khalifa looks okay. So does Daziek. Jacko's got damage to the right hand side. Alex looks fine. Philip, Bill, Apex, they all look okay. Sir Lane. So just guys at the back then have got a bit of damage. And no sign of the safety car arriving into the pit lane just yet. It will be at least one more lap. And then Mike, if you're anyone with wing damage, now is the time to pit. If last lap wasn't, then this lap is. Make that stop under the safety car, change that wing, minimize the time you would lose under racing conditions normally. It's not a very long pit lane either, so there is a chance to do that. This would be an absolute godsend if people started on supers to come into the pits and change their tyres, but of course with the rain in qualifying, the majority started on the softs. And we do have another 5-second penalty. This time it's Bill for a collision with Apex, so all sorts of stuff flying over. Morris is sped into the pit lane, so that's a penalty for him. And there we go then. Murdoch is changing a wing this time. I believe that damage was picked up on this lap, I believe, because I don't think he pitted last lap and didn't replace that wing, so I'd imagine that's the case. So, and he puts on the super soft, so nice aggressive start then for Murdoch then. Morris also changed the wing. He's gone on to the mediums. I don't know if those will go to the end. It'll be tough to get those mediums to the end, but a lot of sloppy driving underneath the safety car. If we take a look at the race director, shall we? So collision with Baza then is what caused Pro Opa to retire. No idea what happened heading up Eau Rouge and through Radion, but that was where it started. And then Crumpet's got a 5-second penalty for collision with Rob. Rob, of course, is out, and Morris Minor is sped into the pit lane. So a lot of shenanigans early on underneath the safety car. Lap 3 of 22. So when they get going, it will be the two McLarens leading the way ahead of Ant and then Sir Lane. So Sir Lane wasn't a good spot. I think there was some sort of contact involved. I have to go back and look at it myself, to be fair, to know for sure. But I did see a Force India making contact with someone into turn 1. And there was a big gap between Dan's car and the rest of the field when he was heading up Eau Rouge. So I think possibly that could be the reason for that then. And Baza again close then, so they've made their stops, Murdoch and Morris, and they are back with the pack. But of course we know that Morris has got a penalty to serve yet, as do a few drivers, of course, having jumped the start. Safety car is in this lap, so you can get set to go racing again. Dan's car will back them up, and then when he sees appropriate, another collision between Fernandez and Crumpet, and this time it's Crumpet gets the penalty for the collision this time round. So I'm sure the stewards have to have a look at this afterwards. But here we go then. Dan's car not really letting the safety car go, to be fair, so he's not really doing himself any favours with this restart at all. Field is very bunched up, and we can go racing now. So not the best restart from Dan's car, so he's left himself very, very vulnerable to his teammate Plays. He's gone to the outside. Can he make a move heading around turn 1? Ant is here as well. And the two McLarens holding station for the time being. Dan's car lets his teammate go. So doing the team job there, so that must have been planned between the two as they head up Eau Rouge. There's all sorts of things going on behind, and Dan's car's lost the back of the car. Can he save it? No, the championship leader is out of the race, heading up Eau Rouge. And thankfully, Ant's got picked up. A lot of cars got picked up. Absolute carnage. Dan's car, Howitzer, and they are all out of the race. Fernandez as well. Apex has been disqualified for facing the wrong way. It is an absolutely chaotic restart at the Belgian Grand Prix. Baza missing corners as well. There's Khalifa, there's Crumpet, there's Murdoch. Daziak up to 7th place now. So absolute carnage to restart this race once again. It all started with Dan's car losing the back end heading up Eau Rouge, and everything went off from there. Daziak and Baza. Baza's got a much better run than Daziak out of the no-name corner, and Baza moves up into 7th, and his teammate has also slipped by the Williams, and Crumpet will be looking to do the same. So absolute carnage here in Belgium. We've lost a lot of cars already. But at the front it is Plays leading the way ahead of Sir Lane. So the two McLarens switched at the start after that safety car restart, and then it all went in a horrible direction. The two title contenders are out of this race. We'll have a look later at what that could mean for the championship standings. Meanwhile, Alex behind Philip as Play sets the fastest lap of the race. The chase down towards the last source. There's a lot of activity going on back here. Daziak has made his way back through, and Murdoch is in there to serve his drive-through, I believe, as is Morris. So that's why Daziak and Crumpet gained places on that last lap. They head up the hill. Eau Rouge is so dangerous. It's much harder to take Eau Rouge in F1 2018 compared to 2017. So it really is. As Bill is now, look at Bill. Having started on the supers, Bill is closing up to the back of Sir Lane. So the super soft strategy, the aggressive strategy, well, I wouldn't say it's worked out, because it's the only reason it's worked out as Crumpet gets by Daziak. The only reason it's worked out is because the carnage that has unfolded in front is the only reason why that's worked out. Oh, but that's the end of that though. It's not working out anymore, as Bill has hit the wall of the no-name corner, and a piece of that wing has gone flying. And well, if his tyres weren't beginning to struggle already with those poor super softs, poor for the race, well, they certainly will be now. And Philip can begin to reel him in, and Alex too. Alex has got a good chance to close up a lot of points today in the standings if he can survive and get himself a good result. He is in 5th at the moment, and I suspect that will become 4th quite quickly once Bill makes a stop. He'll have to make a stop to replace that damage. So will he pit then? He does. It was the only thing to do really after that damage. So he comes in, and Philip and Alex and the rest will pop by. I assume he'll pop out around 10th place and disqualified for ignoring a drive-through penalty. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure how he's managed to do that. But there you go. That is Bill out of the race. Oh dear, I wonder if this could be... Oh dear, absolute carnage. We're down to 11 runners already. And Murdoch comes in to serve his drive-through, I believe. And Morris is in again. So were those scheduled stops last time round? And they've been disqualified as well, so, or at least Morris has, so that's another, that must be a glitch with the game, with Codemasters, because they've come in to serve those drive-thrus and they've been disqualified, so that's an absolutely bizarre one. I have no idea what the stewards will make of all of this. It's been an absolutely chaotic race. It has settled somewhat. Baza, the only real battle on track is Baza is closing in on Jacko for 5th place in the Mercedes. So I mean, it's I don't want to swear on stream, but this is just an absolute storm. Absolute storm. So Jacko, Baza, they're up a lot. They were at the back basically, and now fighting for 5th and 6th. The gap at the front has come down 1.1 seconds between Sirlane and Plays. And Mercedes and Ferrari renewing rivalries. As Baza looking to put the pressure on Jacko for P5. Jacko runs a bit wide and deep into La Source, and that'll give Baza a great chance to just drag race him basically down towards Eau Rouge, and there you go, then pops through. Although, could that have been a tactical move? Oh, Baza's got himself out of shape and managed to get off the throttle before that became anything worse, heading up Eau Rouge. I wondered if Jacko had just kind of jostled a bit for position to get DRS, but actually he is running without part of that front wing, and that's the reason why he is 10 seconds behind Alex in 4th. Gap at the front has come down to 7 tenths between Plays and Sirlane. Forgive me, I'm a little bit distracted. I'm trying to look at some of the comments and such, try and see from some of the drivers what was going on through that race. Apparently Morris went through the pits 3 times and it didn't serve him his penalty, and he ended up getting disqualified for it. So it was Baza. He's got wing damage this time as Baza, and that is why. Oh, and Crumpet's off the racetrack as well, and he's got himself damaged. So absolute carnage. And Daziek and Baza. Where's Daziek? There he is. Looking at the 2 in front who have got wing damage as he tries to navigate his way around Crumpet, all out of shape and almost dangerously comes back onto the racing line there. Daziek had to get right off the throttle. As Sirlane posts the fastest lap of the race. This is go time, it seems, and Alex is looking to get close to Philip as well. Has Sirlane just fallen a little bit too far back on this occasion, heading up the hill. A little bit of a lift through Eau Rouge and Radion. I think Plays did the same as well because he lost a bit of ground there. DRS open now on the Toro Rosso as Baza comes into the pits to replace that wing. He's getting close, not close enough. Alex much closer to Philip though on the left hand side. He's going to have the racing line. Philip will have the inside line. He tucks back in behind. Alex accepts that he has lost that position this lap, and Alex then moves up into 3rd place. Crumpet and Baza are in. They're replacing their wings, and that's going to see them on their way. and they should emerge. Where's Murdoch? Murdoch's just coming down the main straight now. Can he get by his teammate? It's going to be close, isn't it? It's going to be very, very close. I see Sir Lane is close to Plays as well. There's a second Mercedes. It's going to be a drag race heading down towards Eau Rouge. Will Baza back off? Will any of them back off? The two teammates to Mercedes, and Baza then files in behind his teammate and slips then into 8th place. And Alex is out of the race. Where has he managed to do this? So Alex, having just taken 3rd place, has retired. I wonder... Oh, he's lost it just before Stavolo. That's a strange one. Not sure if there was a collision there with Philip, but that is Alex, the top 3, all out of the race. As the two at the front begin to squabble some more. And if Sir Lane could get a good run out of La Source, he'll have a great chance heading toward Les Combes. Seems that Plays gets a good run heading out of La Source, and that's helped him. But can anything help him heading up the hill as they go through Radion? Again, he just eked out a bit more. Just enough really to keep him safe from that DRS, and Sir Lane has got no ERS, and maybe that's the reason why. Well, they're both running quite low on in that regard. So just seems to eke out just enough to keep himself far in front enough that DRS from Sir Lane isn't able to do anything down Les Combes or into Les Combes. Oh, Baza is off. He's lost it coming out of Blanchimont, and that front wing is destroyed. And will he come into the pits, or will he just retire? He's going to come into the pits. So we're down to just 9 runners after just 9 laps. Oh dear. I mean, you could have sworn this was the first race after the Christmas break, but it's not. It's the second race. All this stuff should have happened at Hungary, really, but alas, Spa can throw a few spanners in the works, and it's certainly too. Again, like I said in qualifying, it's not the easiest track to drive, and well, a lot of people will be feeling a lot of regrets about what happened here today. Some people just couldn't get out the way, and unfortunately we're caught up in all sorts of incidents. Play sets the fastest lap of the race, and Crumpet is out now as well. So where has he lost it? Could be anywhere. I'm guessing, given by Khalifa's position, it was out of the Bruxelles hairpin, and Philip comes into the pits then, the first runner on the softs to come into the pits, lap 10. Medium tyres on that car, and that sounds about right. Where's Baza then? Oh, so he's lost it out of Les Combes then, has he? No, there he is. Straight on at the Bruxelles hairpin. And look at that, Philip is able to come out, and he's still in 3rd place, and Jacko behind him has got wing damage, so comfortable P3 I think for Philip if he can hold on. Daziak is into the pits as well. The field is so spread out past Jacko, and it should become even more spread out when Jacko makes his stop. So Murdoch then moves up into 5th. And look at these two, the Ferrari and the Renault, squabbling, but I imagine this squabble will not be for very long, as the wing damage of Jacko will certainly hurt him through this section of the track. Which leaves us free to look at the two at the top, still very, very close between these two. The rest of the field may have crumbled around them, but these two are still fighting it out. It's going to be a close race between these two, and we can be thankful that there is a good fight going on, and it is for the lead of the race. When everyone else has crumbled, they have kept it on the track, at least so far, as we approach half distance. And then, here we go then, Plays, dives into the pits. Is that a mistake from Sir Lane not to do the same thing? We'll find out. He needs a big in-lap now, does Sir Lane, and Plays needs a nice out-lap as well. There'll be plenty of space, plenty of clear track, because there is no chance Philip will catch them before Plays emerges from his stop then. Nice stop from the McLaren boys to get that McLaren underway. Oh, runs very, very wide. Loses the back end. That's not the best thing Plays to do on his outlap. Not the great best way to start. So we'll see then. The rest of this lap needs to be very, very good if he wants to keep that lead and possibly gain a bit of time as well on the process of Sir Lane. I mean, look at that. Murdoch is in 5th and he's made 3 stops. That just kind of tells you everything you need to know about this race, really. Lap 11 of 22. I mean, the gaps are spread out for now, but when Sir Lane pits, it'll be a little bit closer. And we'll see where Jacko ends up then when he pits as well. And will he change the wing? Hopefully change that wing, but we'll find out. He's already dropped 3 seconds behind Philip. I'll go on board with Sir Lane as he goes through Paul Frere. The climb up the hill, the gradual climb as they get towards the bus stop chicane, but not before a sweep to the left-hander of Blanchemont. There it is, nice and easy in the dry. And braking then for the bus stop, and he'll come into the pits to respond. Misses that curve, thankfully. It said that bit of wall that juts out is a dangerous one, and gets his car slowed down in time. Plays is just going through Blanchemont himself, and I think this will be super, super close. Will that little mistake from Plays heading out of the pits cost him? Let's find out. From Sir Lane has seen them up into first, and then oh, there goes Plays. He saw the twitch of Sir Lane, out of the path from the twitch himself, and has binned it as his teammate did after Radion. And that is his race over with as well. We are down to 7 runners. And a huge chance has been let slip by a number of drivers, but now Plays as well. There you go then. Well, unless Sir Lane makes a mistake similar to that, that will surely be the race. That will surely decide the race at this stage. The one fight that we could have looked forward to for the rest of this race was the fight between Sir Lane and Plays, and now with that mistake, I thought initially Sir Lane was going to lose the back end, and he did have to get off the throttle. I thought Plays was going to go through, but Plays had a moment himself, and then the rest is history. Khalifa is catching Daziek, but is on older softs and will have to pit again. Oh dear. Not a great race. If you're watching, I can only apologise. I'm sure some of the drivers are watching this as well, and seeing the amount of points that are on up for grabs today with everyone retiring can't really help some of these guys. But I wonder if Khalifa can get by Daziek before he makes his stop. The tyres could go another few laps yet, to be fair, on that Force India. So we'll see. Some people asking for a restart. We're over halfway through the race. I can't imagine one will take place. So Daziek is still in 5th, and Khalifa pops by the pit lane on this occasion, so a chance to further reel in that Williams as they head towards La Source for the 13th time of 22. There's a long way to go in this race yet, but hopefully a few more battles can emerge between now and lap 22. Up the hill again, Daziek, poor run out of Radion, and that will allow Khalifa an easy way through towards P5 and the DRS to boost as well, just for extra boost to get away from that Williams. But Daziek really doesn't need to fight that too much. He'll know that those softs will not go to the end of the race, and that position will come back to him again, and he just needs to run his own race. Like, to be fair, like many of these guys, to be fair, I know Jacko's yet to pit, Murdoch will have to make another stop, but Philip, Sir Lane, they just have to run their race. They don't have to do anything else at this stage. They're comfortable where they are, and they'll finish where they are as long as they can keep it pointing in the right direction, and with the gaps they have, there's really no excuse not to at this stage. Oh dear. 38 seconds separates Murdoch from Sir Lane, and Jacko as well, 23 seconds behind Sir Lane. And that's with Jacko yet to make a pit stop, the only man yet to make a pit stop. So, I mean, Daziek meanwhile is closing in to take him back. That P5 thought about a move down the inside of Blanchimont, not a place you really want to be diving down the inside as someone. It's not really an overtaken spot, down the inside at least, and held off on it wisely, and will back out and have another go. Maybe not this lap, he's dropped back considerably of Khalifa on this occasion, but I think how's his run? We are getting close to the point where the mediums, to be fair at this stage for Daziek compared to Khalifa, are a better tire to be on. So part of the reason for Daziek reeling them in a bit, and you can see again wisely, to be fair, wisely is Daziek lifting up through Eau Rouge. No need to risk anything. You're set where you are, and it's just about clever race management really from here for a lot of these guys. Just knowing when to push and when to just take it easy and just play it safe. You're guaranteed points if you finish. Just about playing the long game. And for the moment, Khalifa hangs on to that P5, but sooner or later, Daziek will take that place. He should drop a bit further back this lap, has Daziek, but again, like we've mentioned, he can drop as far back as he wants to at this stage, really, as long as he finishes the race. Sir Lane heading up the Kettle Straight, and Jacko comes into the pits then. So P3, 13 laps, those mediums went in the end. 14 laps really. That says soft tyres will go onto that Ferrari, no change of wing. So he's going to have to deal with that damage for the rest of the race. Murdoch then moves up into a temporary third place. Of course, Murdoch will have to make another stop. A fourth stop at that. So out comes Jacko. And you can see Khalifa there just coming down towards last source now. And 7 seconds behind is Murdoch, but of course, or is Jacko to Murdoch, of course Murdoch will have to pit again. As will Khalifa. So that'll be third place then, looking for Jacko. So a podium for Jacko be a great result considering he started from 18th. So be a very good result. Jacko has struggled for consistency a lot this season. So if he can, this will definitely be his best result of the season if he can hang on to this result right here. But he has got wing damage, and so long as he's missing that little bit of downforce, there's always a danger. But again, similar to everyone, he just needs to take it easy, and he's guaranteed to finish where he is right now, basically. So in many ways, sadly, there's no real reason for anyone to really race at full pace in any capacity whatsoever. Murdoch pitching, where will he come out? When he does, and I expect he will come in this lap actually, to be fair. You could almost put on a set of supers at this stage and go to the end with the lightened fuel load. Those tyres look absolutely they don't look in a good way. But he's going to continue on. At least for another lap. Lap 16 of 22. Will Khalifa come into the pits? Yes, he does. So Khalifa then pops into the pits from 5th, and Daziek will move ahead. Yeah, back up into 5th then, and Khalifa should emerge in that same position. Super soft tyres going on to that Force India, and a wing change to come as well. So it'd be very interesting to see Khalifa's pace now at this stage of the race with that wing change and I said super soft tyres. They should go to the end. They might not be the prettiest things in the world, but they will go to the end. Should go to the end. With that change, he pops out just over 4 seconds ahead of Baza, who I don't know if he'll be able to get those tyres to the end. 7 laps plus another 5 or so on softs. They won't be great. You could probably put on a set of supers and he'd get to the end comfortably. He's not going to finish 6th as long as Khalifa has got all 4 wheels on his car. So, because he will just, or should, just pull away now with the super softs, and now a nice full front wing to help him get that car pointed wherever he wants. I'd imagine the grip will be absolutely lovely, but he's just losing the back end a little bit there through the no-name corner. Just have to be careful of that. Sometimes you can have too much grip and you can be surprised by that amount of grip when you come in for your stop. It can happen, and I've seen plenty of things happen as a result, penalties picked up, etc. Murdoch is continuing on these tyres, and 12 laps, he'd surely be able to come in now and put on a set of supers and go to the end. Yellow flag in sector 2. Oh, Baza is into the wall, and that is just coming out of Puon, is it? It is. And he's lost part of that front wing, lucky not to lose more. Okay, so let's put this into perspective. Let's frame this one, shall we? So, okay, there's 5 or so laps left. Murdoch is in 3rd. He's 7.6 seconds ahead of Jacko. Those tyres, I think, cannot get to the end. But if you're Murdoch, you might as well try to get to the end, because you've got a bit of margin behind you. There's not a lot of laps left. Worst case scenario, you get a puncture, you lose P4. You lose your P3. You're probably going to lose anyway. You would definitely lose anyway if you pitted. You lose P4, possibly. Well, and you might not lose a lot more than that, because now Khalifa is out of the race. Oh dear. So that knocks it down to 6 runners. I don't even know where that was as well, because Daziek is too far in front and Baza too far behind. That could have been anywhere. So I was saying, be careful. There could be too much grip. Well, there you go. That's what happens. Lap 18 of 22. Maybe with one of the leaders we can see where it was. Maybe with Sir Lane. So I think Murdoch is definitely risking a puncture, but now, to be honest, he can only lose P4 and 5. So the risk, I think, is higher than the is worth it. It's higher than the reward. Green flags there through the Kemmel Straight. So yeah, best case scenario, Murdoch has got a podium. Worst case scenario, he finishes 5th. So, and to be fair, with Jacko's wing damage, that's a good shout for him, to be fair. So, because Jacko is not gaining any time despite having much fresher tyres than that Mercedes, his wing damage is really hurting him. So it's just a matter of, can Murdoch get these softs to the end of the race? He's got a few ways to go yet. We even saw guys in the mediums pit on this lap old tyres, lap 12, 13, for softs to do it. I think it's extremely risky. But again, if you can grab a podium, I think it's worth some level of risk. If you know if you know you're going to get a puncture, then there's no sense of doing it. Even though the counter argument is a podium's up for grabs, and look at that, he's really struggling. I think he's better off pitting, to be honest. I think he should have pitted a few laps ago, and he may have even had the chance to catch Jacko on his new set, give himself plenty of time to do it. I think he would have easily caught Jacko, given the fact that he can't even get close to him despite having 10 lap fresher tyres. So I think it would be almost guaranteed that Murdoch would have been able to catch up to the back of him, but now it's too late. He can't come in now. He's not going to get back that 3rd place now if he comes into the pits. So what does he do? Does he come in and take the hit and cut his losses, or does he be stubborn about it and, well, do what he's going to do? Just drive until the wheels fall off, quite literally. Lap 19 of 22. I mean, heading into this race, 20 drivers, I did expect carnage in some way. I did not think this would be the level of carnage we would see. The big accident coming after the safety car restart when Dan's car lost the back end coming up Eau Rouge and through Radion, and that instigated a multi-car crash involving Antatak and Howitzer as well, and a couple others. So what does this do then for the championship? Basically, who does this actually favour? Baza is the driver who would gain the most points out of this in terms of the championship. He gained 8th for 6th. Baza is in 5th, and he wouldn't even move up to 5th, or to 4th rather, because he is 15 points behind Mr. Crumpet. So a very rare exception where literally this does absolutely nothing for the title race. Oh, as it finally come off, because Jacko is going to come through. Has the tyre finally let go? Looks like it's still okay for the moment, but he definitely had off, did Murdoch, through Pouon. The tyre looks like it's beginning to give up. No sign of a puncture yet, but surely he's got to come in and replace those tyres. Now that he's lost 3rd, he could still get back 4th from Daziek if he pitted now. But he's not giving this one up without a fight. Oh, there's been desync, and Murdoch is into the wall. He's out of the race. So Jacko has desynced the car. Ran too close to the back of that Mercedes. He should really know better by this stage about desync and its range. And there it is. That is Murdoch out of the race. And even though that wasn't Murdoch's fault in terms of he was rear-ended, if he had come into the pits a few laps ago, he wouldn't have been anywhere near that situation. So I can't feel a great deal of sympathy for Murdoch in that sense, because really he should have pitted a few laps ago, and he could have had every chance to take back that 3rd place from Jacko. Now he's getting absolutely nothing out of this race. Daziek moves up to 4th, and Baza will eventually move by Murdoch, his teammate, into 5th. There are just 5 runners left. Sirlane though still pushing. We saw he did the fastest lap last time around, so just showing what pace he has up his sleeve, that really, in case it wasn't in any doubt, he's got this race well and truly in the bag. Well, if you're watching the race on YouTube, if you're one of the many drivers who have retired and are watching this, please say hey. I mean, look at this. The closest gap is 20 seconds, and it's between Sirlane and Philip. That's how poorly this race has gone. Absolutely incredible. I'm not sure what else there is to say at this point. It's weird that a championship race will have absolutely no effect on the drivers. Like, nothing happens in this. Nothing really changes in this race in the standings after this. Baza moves closer to Crumpet, and that's really it in terms of top 5 movement. Jacko will make up a few spots though. Even if he gets a penalty, he's 23 seconds ahead of Daziek, so he should still retain 3rd. 15 points for Jacko. He's on 33 right now. He's up to 48, so he'll move up a good bit, possibly as high as 6th in the standings. And this will be Jacko's best result since Australia, where he finished 4th, where for the first league race of 2018, of F1 2018, where a lot of people also did not finish the race due to the infamous turn 12-13 chicane. But we are finally starting the final lap of the race. It's been a long old slog, but we're almost there. I wonder if Sirlane's going to go for it. I think he's going to go for a hot lap. You can see he's in hot lap mode. I think he's going to try to set the fastest lap of the race on this last lap, so there's every chance this could go horribly wrong. So let's see. He managed to keep it in a straight line heading up Eau Rouge and through Radion, so his biggest threat I think is over and done with. Let's see if he can set the fastest lap, because we may as well stay here, because once he sets the fastest lap, it's going to take a while for the rest to cross. Jack will now have an absolute heart attack when he looks at this, when he looks at the final standings and results here. And if he watches this back, I can only say sorry. So then through Pouan one last time for Sir Lane. It's been easy going for Sir Lane ever since, well, both McLarens stuffed it, especially Plays after he just made his pit stop. And after that, it's been plain sailing, but it hasn't stopped him from extending the gap to him from behind. And through Paul Frere one last time, right in the curbs. I think this will be the fastest lap, you know. I think it just might be. On his debut from coming down from ILR 5, Sir Lane, in in unique circumstances, he rounds the final chicane, and I think he's going to set the fastest lap as well. Sir Lane wins the Belgian Grand Prix and sets the fastest lap in the process with a 1:47 flat. So a great drive from him. He couldn't control everyone else having accidents around him. He did what he had to do, and that was kept it pointing in the right direction, and everything else took care of itself. Philip, well, a bit patchy at times for Philip, but he's going to come home and finish second. And he'll finish second there. And Jacko, well, controversial third place for Jacko after what happened to Murdoch, but it will be his best result of the season for sure. He goes to Blanchard. Baza has finished the race. Of course, Baza was a lap down, so as you could probably imagine. So out he goes, and Jacko taking it nice and slowly, and he'll finish in third, 40 seconds behind Philip, and then Daziek. He's been very wise, I think, this race as well, to be fair. And this will be Daziek only second points result of the season. Finished 10th in Austria. His only other two finishes have been 14th in China and 12th in Silverstone. But there he goes. I can imagine he's delighted with that result as he crashes into the wall after crossing the line. Well, we made it. We made it. A lot of disqualifications and such. The game Codemasters have absolutely fluffed this one up. A couple of people try to serve drive-throughs under the safety car, or not under the safety, sorry, after the safety car, and it pitted them instead, and that was the reason why Bill and Morris, at the very least, those two were disqualified. And well, it's a tough one for them. They could have easily been in this race still, and a lot of points would have been on display. But there you go then, that is the Belgian Grand Prix. I'll take you through the results. It won't take very long. Sir Lane wins by 24 seconds ahead of Philip. No penalties, which is, I think, is probably a first in ILR6 this season. Philip in second, Jacko third, Daziek fourth, Baza fifth. That is all the finishers. Whether Murdoch qualified for 90% of the race, I'm not sure. I will find out afterwards, but utter carnage, and I'm glad that it's over. Thanks for watching round 13 of ILR6. You can catch ILRs 3 and 4 at 8 o'clock, same channel, same track, and I'd imagine, I can guarantee that there will be more finishers at those races than this one. So until next time.